Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review, so hopefully you find this one interesting. This movie is a horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2017, directed by Trey Edward Schultz, and this film is called It Comes at Night. So It Comes at Night is set in the near future. A virus has devastated the world's population, and there are a few survivors that live in fear. So you've got a husband, wife, and a teenage son that live in a very remote house in the woodlands, and they appear to be free of this virus. So every time they go outside, they've got to wear gas masks, they've got to wash their hands every time they touch something, and when they go inside, they've got to have the doors locked at all times. So this has kept them living somewhat peacefully for a while until a stranger breaks into the house desperately seeking help. Now he's got a family of his own and he says that he desperately needs some food. So this man, the main character, believes that the right thing to do is help this guy out, so he invites this stranger's family to come and stay with them, just as long as they go by the rules and as long as that they can prove they're not infected. So after it's satisfactorily shown that they're not infected, they begin to live with each other in harmony, but that harmony is about to be broken when there is paranoia that someone is infected inside the house. So this leads things to go way out of control, and it's going to basically spiral down a very dark passage. So what that passage is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on It Comes at Night. This is a movie that does have a lot of hype, and for that I really wanted to see it. Unfortunately, I had to wait for the DVD release here in Australia because I didn't get a chance to watch it in cinemas. I don't even think it was released in cinemas in Australia, or if it was a very select few cinemas. So I was very disappointed by that, because after seeing the trailer, I was very enthralled. And a lot of people actually like this film and a lot of people hate this film, and so for that I had 50-50 expectations. I didn't know what exactly I was going to get myself into, but I was willing to give it every opportunity to impress me. So after finally watching the film, I will say that this is a prime example of what subjective horror is. If you go into it thinking that you're going to get something like The Conjuring, and you like that kind of horror that really does play more of a visual and a visual and audio base, then this is not a movie for you. But if you like your movies like The Witch, that's all about slow tension and psychological impact, then I believe that It Comes at Night is definitely going to appeal to you. I thought this is a very scary film because it does show you what ordinary people are capable of when put under extreme situations. This is a movie that the cruel atmosphere outside is starting to dictate what these people are doing. And this is the scariest thing, is because although these people aren't necessarily villains, the paranoia is starting to creep in, and it's corroding their mentalities to actually control them to do things that you wouldn't normally associate with. And so this is something that you can ask yourself. If you were put into an extreme situation, what would you do? And you can't really answer that question until you've been put into the situation that these characters have been put into. So it's basically a tale of survival and what you would do in order to preserve that survival. And so this is what creates that psychological battleground. This whole house is just a battle of wits, and you can sense that people are trying to outdo each other and you're not quite sure what is going on. So there's a lot of unanswered questions that I thought contribute to that suspense and drive the film forward at a very rapid pace. I thought this continuity of this film was absolutely fantastic, and it keeps you on edge because of not only the psychological impact of these characters, but the harsh reality that these characters were facing and the harsh environment that the director manages to create. And that harsh environment pulls no punches, and it doesn't really guarantee any of these characters' safety. You know that whenever someone's infected, they have to be dealt with in a very matter-of-fact way. And so feelings are not relevant in this world, is that if you want to survive, you have to do horrible things. And so that's what creates that cruelness that the film has, and it engulfs the viewer and it makes the viewer feel very uncomfortable. And that's also complemented by some very good ways that the camera is shot. I thought the way that the camera angles are done combined with the score was very unnerving. And so psychologically I think it's a very intense film, and it's complemented very well by absolutely fantastic visuals and great performances from the acting. Joel Edgerton, who plays the main character, was fantastic. I always love seeing him in a film. And you got supporting characters who really play well off each other as well. So it's a very strong emphasis on the performances because there's very limited characters, but you feel as though the character of the outside is starting to make their world smaller and smaller as paranoia starts to creep in. And paranoia is the true villain in this film because, as I said, it's dictating what these characters are going to do to each other, and what they do to each other does go to very shocking lengths. And that is really the tone of the film. That cruel tone is from start to finish. You know that you're not in a fairy tale in this film, and you know that as good people doing bad things in order to preserve that safety. And so you're constantly asking yourself, is it necessarily a bad thing. If you and your family want to survive, then sometimes you might have to do a cruel thing. And that to me is the scariest aspect of It Comes at Night. And I think that's why the movie works so as well as it does, because it's a very mature film. It's a very subtle film, but the subtleties creep up to make something that is a snowball effect, and that snowball effect really does knock you out by the end of the film. I just thought it was a very bleak experience, and it's an experience that I think was definitely worth the wait. So if I have any problems, I will say that for me, I love the fact that it was open-ended, that there were questions that weren't answered, and it made me think. At the end of the film, I was thinking quite considerably about one aspect of this film, especially in the woods. Now, in the woods, it's very, very vague as to what is going on, and I really like that, because a very vague description sometimes can be a lot scarier than something you can initially see. But the problem with that is that a lot of viewers are not going to like that. A lot of viewers want closure. A lot of viewers want to know what's out there, and you're not going to know what's out there. So a lot of people are not going to like that aspect of the film. And so for me, it's not a criticism, but for other people it will be a criticism, is that a lot of people like your questions answered, and this movie is definitely not going to do that. But for me, it just gave it more impact, and it gave it more scariness, and therefore it just became an incredibly memorable experience that I'm really happy I saw. And so if you're after this kind of thing, if you're after your psychologically tormenting and exhausting films, then It Comes at Night is coming recommended, and as a result of that, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.